So welcome everybody. It is September 9th, 2020, and today we're discussing Alma and CDI single activation. We have with us today, all the way from Renana, Israel, she joins us with a very busy schedule, taking a full hour out of her jam-packed schedule from Renana, Israel. We have Donna Moshkovits with us today. Director of Product Management here at Libris. Thank you, Donna, for joining us. And before we begin, I want to point out to everybody, this is part of an ongoing series we have of knowledge sharing webinars for product management. On the screen here, we have recordings of our previous sessions. Earlier this week, for example, we had the Alma new metadata editor right here. 2 weeks ago or so, how long is August 20th? Is that 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago. We had using the community cloud apps. Before that, we had Counter Release 5 in Alma and Alma Analytics. We had the Alma Print Daemon. This is part of our ongoing series. And if anyone wants to suggest new topics, they can just click right here. All you have to do to find this page is go into Google and just write Ask the Alma Expert, and you'll be brought to this page. There we are, the first result. All of the recordings of all of our sessions go to YouTube and to this page. And in fact, when you go into a recording here, it's actually an embedded version from YouTube. And then you'll always see a little Chinese on the bottom because our Chinese institutions sometimes cannot access YouTube, so we post that elsewhere, but they're always posted for everybody to be able to access. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing. We're going to turn over to Donna Moshkovits, Alma, CDI, single activation. Donna, I'm making you the presenter. Take it away.
Thank you, Yoel. Hello, everyone. So again, my name is Donna Moshkovits, and today I would like to walk you through a session I prepared in relation to Alma and CDI. As part of the session, we will talk about CDI full text online available options and expanding the search beyond the library collection. We will talk about the different options that are available in Alma in order to control what appears in CDI. So we will talk about full text availability, available online. We will talk about various use cases in relation to the control that you have for defining content to be available online. We will also talk about the linking in CDI, discuss the options that you have for expanding the search results beyond the library. And if time allows, we will also talk about CDI attributes. I would like to start with a short demo of CDI. In our demo environment, what I would like to do is, as you can see, I accessed the Primo Discovery Index, and I would like to perform a search in CDI in order to illustrate and to demonstrate what we want to focus as part of this session. So I'm going to search for working from home in the Central Discovery Index through Primo Discovery. And as you can see, I get various results for articles, for books, for book chapters. There's a lot of resource types that are available through the Central Discovery Index. And as you can see that when I searched it, I'm automatically presented with all of the content that I have available online, meaning that the library has access to. So as you can see here, for every resource, there's an indication here available online. This will be the main focus of our session, to try to understand how CDI actually knows that you have access to these resources. How does CDI know that to mark this content as available for you, as opposed to content that exists in the index, which is not available to the library. So we will talk about that and about the various methods we have in Alma in order to control the appearance of the available online. So we have, so you can see here the search results for available and online. And in addition to that, we have here expand my results. If I click expand my results, you will see that the Primo will now show me additional results. In addition to those that are available online, I also get results for content that I don't have available online, meaning no online access. Libraries at times would like to provide their patrons with the ability to view content that they don't have full text access for, and they are able to provide additional services for these type of content, such as resource sharing, document delivery, and so forth. So even though they don't have full text access, they are able to provide some type of services for content that they do not subscribe to. So so Primo through CDI defaults to that content that you have available, but also give you the option to expand beyond what you have available using the expand my result. So going back to the presentation, what I would like to do now is to focus on the available online. We will talk about the full text availability and try to understand how this indication appears in CDI. So I will also reference the same example that I just demonstrated, the available online for the search that I performed for working from home. As you can see, if I look at this specific example, we have the available online. So why does really the available online appear in the search results? If I click on available online, you will see that that CDI will present you with results for the full text access for that specific article. So you can see that this specific article is available. There is full text access for it from 3 different providers. It's available through EBSCOhost Business Source Premier, through Wiley, and it's also available through the a general collection that is called Free eJournal. So we know that this article is available online through these 3 different providers, and the patron has access to the full text for that for that article. So how does it really know that it's available online? First of all, we need to know that this specific article is part of a journal that is called International Labor of Review. International Labor of Review, it's a journal. It appears, it's available in Alma through 3 different providers, EBSCO, Wiley, and Free eJournals. And the links to the article are provided by the Alma link resolver. So let's jump now to Alma and try to understand how it looks in Alma. So if I search in Alma for International Labor Review, this is a journal that we're talking about, right? The article that I looked up belongs to the International Labor Review. If I search for the International Labor Review, I can see that it is part of the EBSCOhost Business Source Premier collection in Alma. You can see here, you can see that the portfolio is active. You can see that through the icon of the community, which is blue, meaning that this portfolio is active in Alma. Because of that fact, because of the fact that this journal is active through EBSCOhost Business Source Premier, CDI knows that knows to mark it as available online. It knows to mark it it knows to mark the article as belonging to a journal for which you have access to. You have access to through the EBSCOhost Business Source Premier, which is active in Alma. The same with Wiley Online Library. The same journal exists also in Wiley Online Library, and this portfolio is active in Alma. Again, we can see it through the icon of the community zone, which is blue. So the fact that these portfolios are active in Alma tells CDI that you as a library the patrons of the library have access to this journal, to the articles of this journal, and therefore all of the articles belonging to this journal will be marked as available online. So how does Alma communicate this information to CDI? We communicate this information to CDI using a publishing mechanism that we have in place. The publishing mechanism in Alma collects all of the electronic holdings that you have in Alma, which are active and available, and it publishes all this information to CDI. So it will include all the active portfolios, including all of the relevant information about the portfolios. Metadata information such as identifiers and the coverage for the journals and so forth, and it will send that information to CDI. Based on that information, CDI will try to match all of the articles for which you have access to. Will take into account the coverage information. It will try to match based on the identifiers, and it will mark all these articles as available online. It's not specific only to articles, of course, it's also relevant to book chapters, books, journals, other resource types that are available in Alma and are represented by active portfolios. So all this information will be published to CDI. In addition to that, also collections of type databases will be published to CDI. At times, you have collections in Alma that are represented as a collection level database that does not have portfolios. Those collections will be published to CDI as well. It will include a CDI identifier that gives the CDI the option to match the collection. And then once it finds the match based on this DBID, it will mark all of the content belonging to that collection as available online. Okay, so publishing portfolios and publishing collections which are active, available. So the publishing profile exists in Alma as a profile that is called Publish Electronic Records to Central Discovery Index. It runs every day and publishes all this information to CDI. So CDI will be kept up to date with the library's electronic holdings. Very important in order to mark the available online. So this is in general how it works. This is how CDI really knows what to mark as available online. But now what I would like to do is to talk about the different options that you have in order to control this. Okay, so in general, in most cases, everything that you have inactive will appear as available online in CDI. But there are certain use cases in which you want control over this. So I will walk you through the different options that are available in Alma to control the available online. So first of all, the first option you have to control is using the activate, deactivate options. If it's active, it will appear as available online. You don't want it to appear in CDI, then you can deactivate it, of course. But when you deactivate a collection in Alma, of course, it has meaning. It means that not only is it not available in CDI, but it won't be available through the Alma link resolver. It won't be available through your discovery system at all, completely. So if you deactivate content in Alma, it means that the content is not accessible at all. By no means, not through the central discovery index, not through the discovery system itself. So there's a lot of meaning to deactivate collections, but you have the option to do that, and you are probably, as Alma staff that is working with electronic resource, you probably know how to activate a collection in Alma. You do that through the electronic service editor. You mark it as you have the option to change it from available to not available, the service activation status. Okay, so that's one option to control it. But let's say that you do want the collection to be active in Alma. You want the content to be available through your discovery system, through your local Primo or Summon. You want the content to be available for the discovery, but you do not want to mark the content as available online in CDI. So for that, so there's like, here's a very granular option that allows you, on the one hand, to have a content available in Alma, but not have it available through the central discovery index. So in order to do that, you can mark it using do not show as full text available in CDI, even if active in Alma. We have this option. And we will go through the various use cases, that actually demonstrate why this option exists and in which conditions you would want to use this. So do not show as full text available in CDI, even if active in Alma. So you would do this. How do you set it up? You look up the collection, you open the electronic collection. The electronic collection has a CDI tab, and one of the options that appears in the CDI tab is do not show as full text available in CDI, even if active in Alma checkbox. And this option is also available not just through the resource editor, but it's also available through the activation wizard, and it's also available for local collection. It's not limited to community zone collection, something that you might want to pay attention to. So you have this option. So it will remain active in Alma. The content will be published to your Primo. The content will be available through the Alma link resolver, but it will not be marked as available online in CDI. And one of the use cases in which you would want to use this is, for example, open access content. At times you would want to make the content available through your discovery system, but you don't want it to clutter the CDI search results with a lot of open access content, so you do not want to mark it as being available online. So that's one of the use cases. We will talk about another use case, maybe more important use case in relation to electronic books, but I have a dedicated slide for that, so we will go through that in a couple of more minutes. So that's one option. And then we have the other way around. So there's a collection in Alma that is inactive, but you want to mark it as available only in CDI. So it's an option to expose the content in CDI, but you do not want to expose the content through your discovery or through the Alma link resolver. So this option is called Add CDI Only Full Text Activation. And of course, it's only relevant to collections that are defined as collections that have that the linking is done through linking record. Only if the collections in CDI have direct access to full text within the records is this option relevant, because otherwise, if you have a collection in Alma that is inactive, but the linking is done through the Alma link resolver, then you would get dead links from CDI. So it's very important that if you have a collection in Alma that is inactive, but you want to make available in CDI, that you make sure that the collection is defined as a collection that the linking is part of the records in CDI. Otherwise, it will not work. So how do you do that? So, for example, we have this open access book collection. You can see that it's inactive because of the icon from the community zone that is gray. And you can see that the definition of this collection is such that the linking is linking record, meaning that CDI has links to the individual books or book chapters that are available in the records themselves in CDI, so it doesn't need to go through Alma link resolver, and therefore you can activate it and make it add CDI only full text activation, because you're not dependent on Alma for linking. You are dependent on CDI for the linking, and therefore you can make it available in CDI and not make it available in Alma. Hope this is clear. Another option is and this is the last option, is for example, if you have an aggregator collection, but you want to tell CDI, so it's active in Alma, it's an aggregator collection, you have all of the portfolios active in Alma, but you want to tell CDI, you want to tell CDI that if in CDI you have more content than the ones that I have, then disregard the subset that I have active and just activate everything and mark it as available online. Okay? So this is to expand beyond what I have. It's telling CDI disregard the portfolios that I have active in my collection and make any other title that is part of this collection in CDI, make it mark it as available online. And again, this is only relevant to collection that are defined as linking record, because if you don't have a portfolio active for that, then you would get a dead link. So it's very important that if you do check this or define this option, that you define it for collections that are linking record. So the way to do that, again, through the electronic collection editor, you have the CDI tab. And one of the options that you have here is we subscribe to only some titles in this collection. It usually defaults to yes, right? But if you want to expand beyond what you subscribe to, then you would mark no here. Just make sure that...
אסור לשחק בכדור ליד הכביש.
Yoel, can you mute? I think there's some background noises.
I muted again, Ahuva. Ahuva and Levi, I'm unmuting both of you so that you can comment if desired.
Okay, so again, through the electronic collection editor, the CDI tab, you can expand, you can define to open more titles in CDI to full text available online. But again, it's only relevant if the linking is within the CDI records. So these are the options that we have available. Any questions until now before I go on to the use cases?
Donna, there are some questions and I've put them into a document. Perhaps I'll share the screen so you and everybody can see them. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Great. So I will share there. Okay, I'll say them. The first question, does the published coverage to CDI include embargoes?
Yes.
JSTOR embargoes were not recognized in our instance recently.
Yes, the publishing to CDI includes date coverage, and it also includes embargo coverage. If there was a specific issue, we can of course take a look. I know that there was a lot of discussion regarding the JSTOR collections, but we can take a look at specific issues. But yes, embargo coverages are included in the publishing.
Okay, thank you. Next, why will a library opt to get content as available online but not show full text?
So I assume that the question is, why would I show it as being available online in CDI and not have it active for full text in Alma? So this is exactly the use case that I want to show now. So maybe we can save this question. Then maybe we can save this question to later. Maybe after I go through the use case, it will be clear.
Okay. We use either Open Athens or Easy Proxy for our electronic collections. This is causing problems with CDI entries in Primo. How should we set up the CDI proxy configuration under the Discovery tab?
Okay. I suggest that I'm not going to cover as part of this session setup of a proxy, but what I would like to say in general is that whenever the linking is done through the Alma link resolver, and we will discuss linking in further detail through the session, whenever the linking is done through the Alma link resolver, it's used the proxy definition that is defined in Alma. Whenever the linking is not done through the Alma link resolver, but rather is done through the linking record of CDI, then the proxy definition needs to be done in Primo, in the discovery portion. In Alma, there is a discovery submenu in which you can define the proxy setup. If we have time, I can try to show it, but I suggest that we continue with the presentation on the topics that we want to cover.
Okay, there's three more questions, if you don't mind. How do we determine if the link is in the CDI record?
Okay, I will show this when we talk about linking.
Okay, should parser configuration routinely be added? I have activated a few resources that have this information blank, and I have added this manually.
When the linking is done through the Alma link resolver, then the parser parameters need to be filled in. And you only need to do this once, because you only need to do it once. This will determine the accurate links through the Alma link resolver. This is standard Alma link resolver functionality. If you have a specific issue, you're welcome to send me the details via the email, and I will try to take a look.
Okay.
Just at this point, Joel, we will go back to the presentation, and we will see if the additional information in the presentation will address the questions.
Okay, I've stopped sharing, so go right ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joel. Okay, so now what I want to do is discuss a specific use case. So we saw all the available options, and as we saw, one of the questions that you had was, why would I want to show something as available online in CDI, but not have it active in Alma? So one of the use cases for this is in order to be able to handle duplicate ebooks in CDI results. This is the main use case for using this option. So when you search CDI for electronic books that you have available in Alma, that are active in Alma, there can be a case where the search result will include duplicate electronic books. Why? Because of the fact that the bib records of the electronic books are published to your local Primo index, and also is available in CDI as part of the CDI index. So there's a duplication between the electronic books in the local Primo index and the electronic books that are available through the CDI index. And there is no way currently to deduplicate these duplication. There is no way now to say, okay, this book from the local Primo index is the same book as the one that is available through CDI. There is no way to say that they are the same. So in order to do that, in order to prevent this situation, in order to only present one instantiation of the electronic book, then we want to prevent the duplication using the options that we have available. So one of the options is to say, okay, I have it active in Alma, there's no need to show it as available online in CDI. There is no need to show the record, the CDI records for those books, because I already showed them as part of the Primo index. So I don't want to show this duplicate that comes from the CDI. And if this is the case, if you want to preserve what you have in Alma and not show the books that are available through CDI, then the way to do that is to use the do not show as full text available in CDI, even if active in Alma. So this is the options that we talked about. The disadvantage of this is that sometimes in CDI, CDI doesn't include just the book record, but it also includes book chapters. Not for all of the book collections, but to some of the book collections. And if you do this, if you say do not show the full text available in CDI, then you lose out on the book chapters. So this is something to take into account. Another way to solve this duplication is to do the other way around. So instead of saying, so you can say, okay, I want to show the CDI records. I want to show the book chapters in CDI, but in order to avoid the duplication, I will suppress them from Alma. I will suppress them from Alma and say add CDI only full text activation, meaning that it will not be published to the books that exist in Alma will not be published to the local Primo index, and they will not be available through the Alma link resolver. So again, you need to take into account that if you want to do this, this is only relevant to book collections in which the linking is done through the link in the records of CDI. If it's a collection that needs the Alma link resolver, then it's not. You need to use the first option of suppressing the CDI to avoid the duplication. So this is one of the main use cases for which we introduce these options of controlling whether it should appear in Alma, whether it should appear in CDI, and so forth. So giving you this granularity of control. Again, in most cases, you don't need this. In most cases, you have it active in Alma, it's published to CDI, and it's available online for you. Single activation. You do it in Alma, it's available in CDI. Only in these exceptional cases, you need to be able to control these, to suppress either in CDI or in Alma using these options. So this is one of the main use cases. So I hope I answered your question. Another use case that I wanted to talk about is local content. So we've received a lot of questions about local content, and I wanted, as part of the session, to make it clear. Local content, local collections that you have defined in CDI is usually represented via a collection with portfolios. These collection, of course, we will not have a CDI collection ID because you created it, so it won't have a CDI collection ID. It will not be defined as available for search in CDI, of course, because again, it's local content, but the portfolios will be published to CDI. The fact that it's a local collection does not prevent the portfolios from being published to CDI. And it's good because it means that CDI will try to look for alternative coverage for those titles, for those for that content of that local collection, and if there will be a match, it will mark them as available online, and then you will be able to access the local content through CDI and expose the fact that you even have availability for that content. So local collections are can be marked in CDI as available online through the use of the alternative coverage. Of course, you can decide that you don't want it to be available to appear in CDI. By default, it will appear in CDI. You can have the option not to make it available online in CDI through the use of do not show as full text available in CDI, even if active in Alma. Okay? So that's something to take into account. Okay, let's discuss linking a bit. Okay, so access to the full text in CDI will be available to all of the content that you have available online. Okay, so we've already marked all of the content that you have available online. So now, how do you access the full text for that content? So there's two ways to access content, either through the link resolver or through a link in record. Link in record is links that are actually part of the record in CDI that were provided by the provider when we ingested the content of the provider to CDI. Every collection that is available for CDI search activation, so this is an attribute of the collection. If it's available for CDI search activation, it will also have another attribute that is called full text linking in CDI. This full text linking in CDI attribute that you can find on the level of the collection can have two options, either linking record or link resolver. So the way to know if the content of a specific collection if the access to the collection will be done through the link resolver or through link in record is through this attribute, full text linking in CDI. Now, what happens if the content, if you have a portfolio, if you have a title that is available through a couple of collections in Alma and a couple of collections in CDI? How will the linking be determined? Could be that for one collection it's linking record, and for another collection it's link resolver. So how does CDI determine what type of linking to use? So CDI will always prefer linking record. That's the preference today. If you have a title that is available through a couple of collections, it will always prefer the link in the record over link resolver, unless it's open access. So this is the way that it works today. Currently, you don't have any control over this. We know we're now evaluating and we're analyzing the options to give some type of control over this. But again, it's in an analysis stage at the moment. The way that it is currently supported is that it will prefer the links in the records themselves. Of course, you know what are the advantages of a link resolver. If as we saw before, when there are several services, when the title is available through a couple of providers, if the link is through the link resolver, you are able to see all of the services, you are able to define display logic rules, sort order, direct linking, all of the options that are provided by the link resolver. With the linking record, we will show a single link to the full text. It's an accurate link because it was provided by the provider and it takes you directly to the full text. That's why actually CDI prefers linking record. But again, with linking record, you have less control. Link resolver, you have the link resolver configuration options. So this is how linking works in CDI. Okay, Yoel, how am I with time?
You have another 16 minutes.
Okay, good. So up until now, we talked about full text availability, available online, how you can, as a library, control what appears in CDI. And we also talked about linking. What I want to talk about now is expand search results. Expand search results beyond what the library actually subscribes to, beyond what the library has as available online. So as you remember with my search working from home, when I clicked on the expand my results, I received additional content that is not available online. That is not available to my library. I don't have access to it. So this is the expand my results. It's expanding the search results. So when we talk about searching in CDI, there are two modules in CDI that are very important to the discussion. We have the full flexible module, which gives you control over what is available for searching, beyond the library content. This is very similar to the functionality that existed in Primo Central. In Primo Central, you had a lot of control over what appears, what is available for search, you define what you want to make, what you expose, which content you expose to your patrons for searching. So with a fully flexible module, you have this type of control, very similar to what existed in Primo Central. With the Easy Active module, by default, all of the collections in CDI are searchable. The majority of the collections, those that are free for searching, there's a subset of collections that are not free for searching, that are not made available for search by default, but the majority of the content in CDI is available for searching. So with the Easy Active module, you don't have a lot of options to control what will appear for search. With the fully flexible, you do have control over which content is searchable. So I would like to focus on the fully flexible options that are available. So if you want certain content to be available for searching, meaning that you don't have full text access for it, meaning it's not active in Alma, it's not available for full text in Alma, but you do want to give your patrons the ability to search the content and give them services such as resource sharing, document delivery, and so forth. You do want to make the content of those collections searchable. So how do you do that? You use Alma for that. You search Alma Community Zone for the relevant collection. It's a collection that needs to be available for CDI search activation. If it's not available for CDI search activation, then you won't be able to activate it for searching CDI. But if it is available for CDI search activation, such as the example here, then you will see that on the right-hand side, you have an action to activate it for searching CDI. So activating it for searching CDI will activate the collection in Alma, but it will be unavailable. You see, it's the gray icon again. The content of this collection is not available for Alma, for full text in Alma, because you just activated it for search in CDI. It is active for search in CDI, as you can see here, it's defined as yes. And that means that the content of this collection will be searchable when you click on the expand my search results. Okay? This information, of course, the fact that you activated for search will be published to CDI. CDI will know that it needs to mark all of the content of this collection as searchable, and therefore you will be able to search for it. Of course, you have the option to deactivate it for search in CDI as well. But that's how you get collection to be searchable in CDI when you don't have it active. Another option that you have is if you have an active full text collection, you have an active full text collection in Alma. It's active in Alma, but you only have it for a subset of titles, right? You subscribe to a certain. It's a cherry picking collection. You subscribe only to part of the collection, but you want to give your users, your patrons, the ability to search content that you do not subscribe to, right? So there's a portion that you do subscribe to, and there's another portion that you do not subscribe to, and that you do want to make available for search. And then you will use the CDI search activation status as active. You will mark it as CDI search activation status active, and then it will make the collection, the entire collection as searchable. Some of the content of the collection will be marked as available online, and some of the collection will be marked as not available online, but still you are able to discover it and provide other type of services such as resource sharing. So these are the options in terms of the search. I want to, here, the slides will be shared with you, and you can see the additional slides that talk about the CDI attributes. Instead of going over the slides, I will log into Alma and try to show it to you live. I think it will be worth a while. So let's log into Alma. This is our Alma environment. You can see here that if I search, I want to perform a search for electronic collections, but I want to search it using CDI attributes. Therefore, I will access the advanced search, and I will click here CDI, and you will see all of the available CDI attributes that I can search collections by. So first of all, we have the available for CDI search activation. You may remember we used to have an attribute that is called in CDI. We renamed it to available for CDI search activation because we believe that it's more clear. It means that this is a collection that is available for search in CDI. It means that at least 80% of the content of that collection is available in CDI, either directly from the provider or through alternative coverage. We have additional attributes. We have the CDI full text linking attribute, which we talked about. It has the options of linking record or link resolver. We have CDI full text rights. It's an attribute that really defines how CDI determines whether you have the available online. Does it determine it based on the holdings? Does it define it based on a collection level? We have CDI newspapers, CDI only full text activation. We talked about CDI search rights. all of these attributes that we mentioned before. So you are able to locate collections based on CDI attributes. So I'm just going to search for some things that are available for search in CDI, so we can take a look at one example. So for example, you can see
Donna,
here,
I'm just going to give you a 5-minute warning.
okay. So here we have collections that are available for search activation. You can see that some of them are not full text available, meaning that they are not active in Alma, but they are active for search in CDI. Okay, so this is one of the use cases that we talked about. And we can see others here, for example. We see other example where the collection is active in Alma, and therefore it will be available online. If I will click on the edit collection, you will see that I get the CDI tab. The CDI tab will appear only for the CDI tab will appear for those staff users that have the appropriate roles. And here you have all the options that we talked about: CDI search activation status, the various options. And here you have all the attributes such as the collection ID, available for CDI search activation, the number of records in CDI, and a new attribute that we just added that is called provider coverage, meaning does this collection, is the content of this collection provided directly from a provider, we ingest it directly from the provider, or does it, for example, through alternative coverage? And if it's alternative coverage, it will show also the percentage. So there's a lot of CDI attributes. They all appear here. You can find a lot of information in our online help. There's a lot of CKC articles that you can refer to if you have any questions. And I think at this point, I will end the session and we'll just mention that I will share the presentation with you, and you will be able to go through these additional slides of the CDI attributes that I just reviewed.
Yeah, by tomorrow, we'll post the recording as well as these slides. Okay, thanks a lot, Donna. That was a very exciting session, and we hope to see everybody in our next knowledge sharing session. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Goodbye.